we are going to start sitting. So you could sit on a chair, or we'll make our way over to the mat and sit, either just sit on a blanket or sit on the ground, whatever's most comfortable for you. So I think I'm gonna sit on a blanket. And just find a way to sit comfortably. So if sitting cross-legged is comfortable, that can work out well. If it doesn't feel good for one of your legs to be crossed, you could have your legs straight. Also, you could just be sitting in that chair if that's more comfortable. So it's easier for me to offer modifications when I can see you well. And of course with Zoom, I can't see you as well. And so I can't as specifically address modifications, but I just wanna remind you all that there's always ways to modify movement. And you know, this is why we want to bring our focus to what we're doing, because it's really up to you whenever we engage in any sort of movement or position to listen to what your body is telling you. And if your body's saying, you know, sitting like this really bothers my knees, or whatever, moving in this way doesn't feel comfortable for me, then you have to empower yourself to choose to back off or try something a little different. So I hope that everyone is keeping that in mind as we practice. So wherever you've made your way to a seated position, let's go ahead and set our sitting bones down. So take a moment, you might even rock a little back and forth till you feel your sitting bones. And then when you feel them, imagine roots growing down from your sitting bones, down into the ground, down into the earth. Feel them really rooting down deep, deeper and deeper. And as your sitting bones root down and you find that stability, that connection to the ground, from that sense of groundedness, invite your spine to be upright. Just kind of maybe notice your spine as you kind of press into the earth and your spine straightens up a little bit. How does that feel? Can we create a little more space for the vertebrae? And as we ground down to sit up tall, when we think about sitting up tall, oftentimes we lift the chin. We kind of want to lift our head up, but put us ever so little tuck in your chin. And then the back of the head, think about that lengthening up. So that sense of lengthening continues into the neck area. Nice. So as we're sitting up tall, let's begin to breathe. And of course, we're already breathing, but let's begin to consciously breathe. So let's feel our inhalation and let's feel our exhalation. And we're going to slow the breathing down and make it big. So the in-breath is full and deep and expansive. And the out-breath is a nice releasing, emptying, letting go. So you might close your eyes to more fully inhabit what you're experiencing. Eyes open or closed. Feel the expansiveness of your inhalations. When we're sitting up, we can feel it in all directions. And then feel the fullness, the complete release, the complete letting go of breath out of you. Bringing our full awareness to this present moment experience. And really feeling what it feels like to breathe. And when we breathe, we're moving. So feeling what it feels like to move in our bodies. This is the practice. Feeling our bodies. Feeling the movement in our bodies. and noticing how it feels with each thing that we're doing with our bodies. How does it feel? How does it feel to take a deep breath in? And how does it feel when you allow that breath to empty out? That's all we need to do right now is notice and feel. So just take one or two more of these deep, expansive breaths in and out. And then you can transition to a more natural breath rhythm. Take a moment to soften the roof of your mouth. And then if they're not already open, open your eyes. So as we root the sitting bones down, let's grab onto the knees. And we're going to kind of arch the back. So we're going to let the chest come forward, let the heart lift up as we breathe in. And then as we exhale, holding onto the knees, we're going to round back. We'll let the chin drop down. Then we're going to root down and inhale and extend up, lifting the heart. And we'll exhale and round back. You can let the breath flow out through your mouth if you like. You might close your mouth as you inhale and stretch up, lengthen and arch a little bit. And then exhale and round. So it's kind of like cat-cow. We're just extending and flexing the spine. One more time. Root down to extend and arch up. And breathe in. And then exhale and round back. Great. And then come up to sitting up straight. And then hinging forward from the hips, lean forward, reach your fingertips forward, reach them toward the floor. They might not always completely touch the floor, but you're just reaching them out. If they touch the floor, maybe you walk the fingers a little more forward, but try not to bend at the waist. Just try to be moving from the hip. The spine is long. Take a breath here. And as you exhale, begin to let your low back round, your mid back round, your upper back round, and let your head drop down. So you've rounded your back here. Take a big breath into your back. And then as you exhale, roll yourself up. Great. We're going to just, if we're sitting cross-legged, we're going to change the cross of the leg. So the other leg crosses in first, and we're going to do that same thing. So we're going to root down to sit up nice and tall, breathing in. As we exhale, hinging forward from the hips, so not bending at the waist or at the neck, but just hinging, reaching the fingertips out in front. Maybe they reach out, maybe they touch, maybe you walk a little further forward. We'll take a breath here. Nice long spine. And then as we exhale, we'll let the back round. Low back, mid back, upper back, head and neck. Take a big breath into your back of your ribs, back of your lungs. And as you exhale, roll yourself back up. Great. Take one hand to the side, take your other arm and reach it up. Big breath in as you stretch that arm up. Then step the hand on the floor a little bit over and just stretch over to the side. This hand on the floor, that elbow can bend. Breathe into this upper arm side. You might look up under that arm, you might look forward, you might look down, but take another breath into that side as you're stretching over, and then exhale. And on your next inhale, rise up and change sides. So we're going to put that hand on the floor, take the other arm and reach it up, big breath in. Step the hand on the floor a little bit over. You can bend that elbow as the arm that's in the air stretches over to the side. Let's take a big breath into that side waist, the side ribs. And let that breath go. And then next inhale, bring that arm up, bring yourself up, and bring that arm down. Great. If you want to switch back to the original cross of your legs, you're welcome to do so. We're just going to do a gentle twist. Let's take one hand behind and the other arm across. Root to rise, breathe in, and then just a gentle twist in that direction. Bringing the ribs, chest, shoulders around. Your head can go a little further, and then a deep breath in and out. And then we can unwind ourselves back around. We'll switch sides. So the other hand goes behind, the other arm comes across, root to rise up, breathe in. And then just a gentle twist in that direction. Your hips don't need to twist. The hips can stay towards your device, but your upper body twisting around, and then a deep breath in and out here. And then releasing back around to face forward. All right, let's just shake the legs out a little bit. We're gonna make our way around to all fours. And of course, you can always be kneeling on a blanket when you do that, if that's better for your knees. If kneeling isn't good for you, you could be standing with your hands on the chair. So as we come onto all fours, knees beneath hips, wrists beneath shoulders, spine nice and long. I want us to try curling the toes under and lifting the knees up. So this is called a hover. We're just hovering. And you may notice that the core kicks in. Your legs are working here, your core works a little bit. We're gonna take a breath here and then let the knees come down. So this can be hard on your wrists. So I want us all to try this next modification. We're gonna come down onto forearms, even if your wrists don't bother you. Come down onto your forearms and curl your toes under and lift up into a hover. So not only does this release the stress on your wrists, but you might notice as you push down with your forearms, you start to work the muscles in the back of the shoulders, across the upper back, which is nice. So take a breath here, and then drop your knees down. So you could stay on your forearms if your wrists are an issue, or if you just want to work your upper back a bit more. So either on your forearms or on your hands, we're gonna curl the toes under and lift up to a hover. And take a breath and come back down. We'll try it one more time on the forearms. Down on your forearms, pushing those forearms into the floor, and then lifting the knees a little bit off the floor, hovering those knees close to the floor, breathing in and out, and then dropping the knees down. All right, so back to all fours, if that works for you. We're gonna do, we're just gonna do elbow to knee. So can you bring your elbow to your knee and then put the hand down? Bring your elbow to your knee and then put the hand down. So you can just do this by moving your arm and your leg, but think about, as you're bringing your knee toward your elbow, lifting up in the belly, contracting the abdominals. So the knee and the elbow come together and we lift up in the belly. Do a few more of those. Elbow to knee and down, elbow to knee and down. One more on each side. Elbow to knee and down. Elbow to knee and down. Nice job. All right, let's take a little weight off of the wrists and just sit back into child's pose. We can have our arms out in front, extended child's pose, forehead to the floor, or we might rest our head on our bent arms. Take a few breaths here. Take a moment to check in. Notice how you're feeling so far. Consider if there's something you might want to focus on this morning or breathe into your practice. You might do so now. And then when you're ready, begin to lift your head up. Reach your arms way out in front, hands about as wide as shoulders, maybe a little wider. Come up onto your knees, curl your toes under. Let's make our way to our first downward facing dog here now. So our hands are pressing down. We feel the weight not just in the heel of the hands, but in the thumbs, the knuckles, the fingers. We're letting the hips draw up and back as the head relaxes and releases down. Let's bend a knee and press a heel to the floor. And bend that knee and press the other heel to the floor. And your heels go straight back rather than angling inward as you do this, alternating heels down. And then let's try bending both knees a bit and really drawing the hips way up and back, lengthening the spine. Big breath here. As you exhale, you could try lifting the backs of the thighs up a bit if that feels all right for you. Take another breath here. Allow the breath to really empty And then let's walk our hands back towards our feet so we end up folded over, bent knees, arms and head heavy, feet really planted down here now. Then let's draw the belly in and begin to roll ourselves up. Nice, slow, gradual rolling up, unfurling the spine, stacking our vertebrae, and then eventually lifting up the head. With our feet planted, let's reach the arms out and inhale and reach up. Lengthen and lift up, lift your heart. And then exhale the arms down at your side. And then just turn and stand towards your computer or device. So we're going to try just some basic heel raises. If you want to be holding onto the wall or holding onto a chair, you can. We're just going to lift the heels up and then bring them back down. Lift the heels up and then bring them back down. It requires a little balance work, and it gets to kind of strengthen the ankles a bit, strengthen the calves. So this is something I think we should all be doing every day as we get older. Sadly, none of us are getting younger. I think we're all in this together. And we want to maintain our ability to support ourselves with strength and mobility. So this is a really useful thing to do. Doesn't take a lot. All right, let's take the feet a little wider. Heels are wider than hips, toes turned out. Hands on hips, we're going to take the hips back and the knees forward, coming into our sumo squat. So you come on down, and let's make sure that the knees are tracking in the direction of the toes. The knees are going out as the hips are going back, but we're not all the way chest down. We have our chest up a little bit. Okay, so as we're here, let's do a similar thing. We're going to lift the heels up as high as you can. If you need something to hold on to, that's fine. Now, let's take one heel. Let's try the right heel. Can you lower it down slowly, 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 till it's really close to the floor, but not quite touching, and then lift it up. Can you do that with the other side? Lower the heel down slowly, 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 close to the floor, and then lift it back up. Can we do that with both heels? Lowering them slowly, 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 close to the floor, and then lifting back up. So we're toning the muscles in the feet, the ankles, and the pelvic floor here. Let's try it again. Slowly lower the heels down, 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 close to the floor. Now keep your heels close to the floor and straighten your legs. Great. Put your heels down. Come into that sumo squat again. Knees forward, hips back. Lift your heels now just that slight bit, really close to the mat. You can almost feel the mat. And then straighten your legs. Maybe notice the work in the pelvic floor. Great, heels come down. We'll walk our feet together. Let's come and stand at the front of our mat. And we're going to do a little variation of our sun salutation. So we're going to start with our feet planted, standing nice and tall. We'll take the arms and reach them out. We'll inhale and reach the arms up. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. We'll exhale and swan dive forward. Hold it over those legs. Your knees can be soft here. Let's take a deep breath into the upper back. As we exhale, we're going to extend the spine. So you can have your fingertips on the floor or hands on your shins. Really lengthen through the crown of your head. And then fold over and breathe into your upper back. Great. Let's bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Press down to lift up as you breathe in. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Nice strong push-up position. So I think we're so fortunate to have a yoga practice, because this practice of bearing our body weight with our hands on the floor is really beneficial for keeping the muscles and the bones strong. So this is challenging. Our bodies are not light, and we're holding ourselves here. Now this might be a bit much. We can always drop to the knees, and we're still bearing a lot of our body weight. So we might have our knees down, we might have our knees up. We're going to hold for another breath or two. You can press back through your heels and lengthen through your crown. And then you can always drop to your knees first. We're going to lower our chest into the floor. and come all the way down onto your chest so that you get as close to the floor as you can. Your nose is going to graze the mat. Lift your chin and your nose, look straight into the floor. Maybe slide the heels of your hands back a bit. Back of the neck long as the crown of the head stretches forward. Toes reaching the other way. This is prone mountain. It's like standing up, but you're prone. You're nice and long, your chest is broad. Let's now start to draw the heart forward. Inhale and lift the chest up. Lift the chest up as your heart pulls forward, and then lower yourself back down. Let's do that again. Inhale up to baby cobra, and then lift the hands a little bit off the floor. Could you lift your elbows and hug them in? Just squeeze and activate the muscles in your upper back. And then release your hands, release your chest down. One more time. This time we'll keep our hands on the floor. Inhale up to baby cobra. And then if you like, press down and come up a bit more into cobra. And then exhale back down. All right, let's push up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees. And then use the belly, lift the hips up and back into down dog. Breathe in and out here. And then maybe look forward, walk your feet up toward your hands, plant your feet beneath you. And then we'll sweep our arms out, inhale and rise up. Reach up, big breath. We'll exhale our arms down at our side. Great, let's do that again. Root to rise, inhale, reach up. Exhale and swan dive forward. Big breath into the upper back. Exhale, extending the spine or pulling the heart forward. Breathe into your upper back. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. This time, I want you to exhale down onto your knees. So we're on hands and knees again, like we were a little while ago. And earlier we did elbow to knee. And that's going to be one option here, is to go back to elbow to knee, like we did earlier. The next option is going to be to hover the knees and try from this hover position to go elbow to knee. So it's harder. Elbow to knee from a hover. And the closer your knees are to the floor, the more challenging it'll be. If your wrists pose a problem, you could be doing forearm and just lifting one knee at a time, or doing that from a hover. And if you want an even greater challenge, you could move into a plank position. And from this plank position, could you go elbow to knee? So all kinds of variations. You can try different variations and see which one seems more appropriate for you. You could just be holding plank on your knees or on your forearms too. So let's do a couple more of whichever level we decided we wanted to try. And then drop back to knees. And let's give our wrists a break, sit back into child's pose. And sometimes when I do things that work the shoulders quite a bit, I find bringing the arms this way in child's pose is kind of nice. So you might try that, or you might like your arms supporting your head. So you decide, some version of child's pose, an opportunity to again check in with what you're offering yourself this morning. What's important to you? Why are you here? Why are you practicing? What can you bring forth more fully into this morning's practice or into this day? Breathe it in. With your next inhale, lift your head up, reach your arms way out in front. Let's make our way to downward facing dog. Nice. So from here, let's take the right leg up in the air. Lift that leg up and then bend your knee. Let your heel drop towards your bum. Could you lift the knee a little higher, or maybe open the hip out to the side a bit? Take a breath here. Now we're going to try and swing that knee in and up towards the chin. Lift the heel, look forward. Could you step that foot out in front? You could always drop to the back knee and step the foot out in front as well if that's better for you. So we got the foot out in front. We were bending into the front knee. We might bring our hands onto the front knee as we bring ourselves upright. And then we're going to bring our hands to hips. We're going to square our hips forward to the front of the mat. Let's bend into the front knee a little bit more. Really feel the front foot on the floor. And then inhale and straighten the front leg. Exhale and bend the front knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. So as you're doing this, sometimes people can feel a little tension in the low back. So think about engaging the belly a bit here to support that if you're experiencing any sort of thing in your low back here. All right. The next time the knee is bent, pause there. Let's think about the energy of the knee and shin moving forward. At the same time, that same sitting bone is drawing back. Let's press back through the back heel, lift the heart up. We'll lower our arms. Let's reach them out and then up and overhead. Big breath in as you stretch up, lifting the heart, lifting the ribs. And then we'll exhale our hands down to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Great. Breathe in and out here. Lower to your straight arm plank. Take a breath here. You can drop to knees if you like. We're going to lower all the way down into the mat. Prone mountain. From here, we'll inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. And exhale back down. And make our way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. Then with those hands really planted, let's lift the left leg up in the air. We'll bend that knee, drop the heel towards the bum. Could you lift the knee a little higher or open the knee out to the side, taking a breath. And then let's swing that knee up and in, lift the heel, lift the knee, and step that foot out in front. Or drop onto the back knee and step the foot out in front. So feet are hip distance apart. We can bend into the knee and rise up. You could bring your hand to the front leg to help you rise up. And then bring your hands to hips. Square your hips to this short line of your mat. Bend into the front knee a little bit more. Press into that front foot. Inhale and straighten the front leg. Exhale and bend the knee. Inhale and straighten. Perhaps a little tone in the belly to support the low back. Let's do that a few more times. Bending and straightening. Moving with the breath. How does this feel? How are you feeling as you move, as you breathe? The next time the front knee is bent, pause there. Feel the energy of the knee and shin going forward as that same sitting bone draws back to really stabilize this front leg. Press back through the back heel, lift your heart. Let's lower the arms, reach them out. Inhale and reach them up and overhead. Big breath in as you stretch up. And then exhale, hands all the way down. And again, stepping back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and out here. Exhale, you could lower to knees or lower to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale and lower all the way down to the floor. We'll inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. And exhale back down. Great. Let's hover our head and just bring our arms to our side. So we're still rotated our chin in, back of the neck long, crown of the head facing forward. And I want you to press the tops of your feet down, then press the front of your hips down and lift your legs up. So we're working the back of the legs here. Can you turn your heels in a bit and bring your heels in towards your midline? So you're kind of squeezing your legs in towards the midline. And then separate, bring the heels in, and separate, bring the heels in, and separate. Relax the legs down. Take a little break. You're still hovering your head. All right, same idea. We're gonna press the hips down, lift the legs up. And then now reaching back through your fingertips, pull your heart forward and lift your chest up into locust pose. The chin is not jutting forward, it's tucked in a bit. The back of the neck is long. You're long as you can get from toes to crown. Fingertips reaching back, heart pulling forward. Could you lift the legs a bit more? Could you lift the chest a bit more? Take a breath here. And then lower yourself down. Nice work. Let's bring our hands back next to chest. We're going to push up to knees, curl the toes under, lift the knees, and then lift up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. And let's look forward, walk our feet up toward our hands, plant our feet beneath us. And we'll sweep our arms out. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale our arms down at our sides. Okay. Let's turn towards our device. Take our feet wide. And let's start this way. We'll turn the right foot in. We'll turn the left foot out. Making sure our feet are really firmly planted. You know, for years we practiced in the fish hatchery, wooden floors. Now I am practicing with carpet. And so it takes a little more effort to feel my feet grounded because the surface is a bit more squishy. So if you're on carpet, make sure that you're not like all the weight of your foot is kind of squished over to one side. Really spread them out, push them down, get the weight in the whole foot. And then especially with this back foot pressing down, then bend your front knee and straighten it. So this outer edge of your back foot presses down, and then you ask that ankle to kind of flex in. It's really good for rehabbing ankle issues here. If the outer edge of your foot can stay down. And then maybe when you feel that stability, you could walk this foot a little further out, maybe dropping more deeply into this side lunge, into this warrior two position. So remembering that we don't always have to come to the exact same place in these poses. You can go deeper one day, you might go less deep one day. You might give yourself permission to kind of explore what feels good. So then the next time the knee is bent, we'll pause here. So the hips feel nice and dropped into this, and then the spine is upright, shoulders right over our hips. Now let's tip the hips over. So this movement comes from the hips tipping, and then this bottom arm can rest on this bottom. Let's take the other arm out in front. We're going to sweep it overhead, thumb up, pinky down. So you kind of roll the arm down, and then we'll roll the belly and chest towards whatever we're looking at here. And then let's, as we reach long with this arm, release the head to look down. So as the head looks down, take a deep breath in and reach that arm a little longer overhead. And then just take the arm down and put that hand on your hip. Now while you're looking down at your foot, take that front arm and place it on your shin. So you're gazing down at your foot. Can you keep your gaze right where it is without letting your head draw back? Can you begin to try and straighten your front leg? So can you straighten your front leg without letting your head draw back? So the only option then is to create a little more length in your spine. So go ahead and let that knee bend again. Try that again. Keeping your head right where it is as you try and straighten that front leg without letting your head draw back. One more time, you can bend that front knee. And can you straighten that leg without letting your head draw back? So you lengthen into your low back as you do that. Let's bend into the front knee again, push into that front foot, and then rise up. And we'll go to the other side. Turn that foot in, turn the other foot out. You can have hands on hips again. We're going to bend into that front knee and straighten it. So let's do that with our feet really planted, with the outer edge of the back foot pressing down. As the knee bends and as it straightens. And we find that distance that we want to work at this morning. always be the same. You might play around with a little wider, maybe not. Maybe you want to try a little narrower. Whatever feels good today. So let's bend and straighten one more time. Open up those hips a little bit. As you bend into the front knee this time, I'm going to pause here. With your hands on your hips, feel your hips tip over. And then this bottom arm resting on this bottom leg. The other arm reaches out in front. And bring it overhead. Thumb up, pinky down. Roll that arm down. And then we're going to roll the belly and chest towards the camera, reaching long. Take a breath. As you exhale, release your head to look down. And then take that arm that's overhead, reach it a little longer. And then let that arm come down and bring that hand onto your hip. So now, as you're looking down at your front foot, take the arm that's on your front leg, place your hand on your shin. So now look where your gaze is, right over your foot. Can you keep your head right where it is as you try to straighten that front leg? You may not get all the way straight, that's fine, but you're trying not to let your head draw back. And then bend your front knee. Try it again. Can you straighten the front leg without your head drawing back? And then bend your front knee. One more time like that. Inhaling as you straighten the front leg. And exhaling as you bend the knee. Nice work. Let's press into that front foot and rise up. We'll turn the feet forward. Let's just walk the feet. Standing center. Nice work. Okay, I'd like us to work on a couple more balance things to strengthen the hips, the ankles, and just to practice balance. So if you want to have something to hold on to, grab a chair or hold on to, have a wall nearby. Initially, all I want you to do is put the weight on one foot and bend the other knee. We're just going to stand. You could have your hands to heart. You could just have your arms at your side, balancing on one leg. Now, when we balance on one leg, we tend to shift the hips to the side. Can you think about your hips staying level? Or you could even think about your sitting bones, keeping your sitting bones level rather than letting one lift up instead of the other. Can you think about pushing the bottom foot into the floor so this leg is strong and active, supporting you? Let's take a breath here. And then we're going to put that foot down. Change legs. So root through the other foot and lift the other foot off the floor, bending the knee, trying not to shift your weight to the side. Sometimes you might like the centering of hands to heart. Sometimes this focuses our awareness, the pressure of our hands. We'll take a breath. And then we'll put that foot down. Okay, going back to the first side, grounding down through that foot, bending the other knee. So one option is to just stay here doing this. Next option is to start to hinge forward. So we're not going to bend at the waist. We're going to hinge forward from the hips. You can let your arms just be kind of gorilla, kind of heavy, hanging down. You're hinging forward, moving toward a flat back. You don't have to go all that way. And then the challenge is to bring yourself back up. Great. Change sides. Standing on the other foot, the other knee bends. You could just hang out here or hinging, not bending at the waist, hinging from the hip. Arms are just heavy, dangling kind of in front of us. Can we move toward a flat back? See how far you can go. And then the challenge to bring yourself back up. Nice. We're going to do that again, because sometimes it's easier after you've done it once. Weight on the first foot, other knee bends, hinging forward from the hip, arms dangling in front of you. Can you hinge all the way over to a flat back? And then bring yourself back up. So this requires the strength of the hamstrings and glutes. We're also working the strength of the outer hip a little bit. Changing legs, weight on the other foot, other knee bends, hinging forward. Arms are heavy and loose. They're just like a forward kind of weight. Can you move toward a flat back? that's quite challenging in itself. And then quite challenging, perhaps for some of us, to bring ourselves back up and standing. Good work. Okay, one more thing for balance for hips. I want you to stand with one foot on your mat and one foot on the floor. And so you got one foot on the mat. The other foot, we're just gonna point the toe out in front. And actually your arms can be out to your side. You're gonna sweep that leg around behind you. You kind of bend your standing leg and then sweep it back out in front. So you're making like a big half circle. Sweep the leg out to the side, bend your front knee, and then sweep the leg out to the side, and you're forward again. You could be sweeping the toe around and behind you, and then sliding that toe back out in front. You could also do it with your toe off the floor, sweeping it around and behind you, sweeping it around and in front. Just one more time. Sweep it around and behind, sweep it around and in front. Nice, let's go the other way. So you've got one foot on your mat, one foot off of your mat, pointing that toe of the foot on the floor. Take the leg out to the side, bend your front knee. So you're in kind of a lunge here, and then slide that toe forward and in front. Sweep it around and behind, bend the knee. Sweep it around. You could do this with the toe sliding on the floor, or you could do it with the toe off the floor perhaps. Bending the front knee, and then bringing it back in front. And last one, sweep it out and behind, bend the knee, and then bring it around in front. Great, good work. Okay, healthy hips support healthy knees. Help support healthy ankles. It's all connected. All right, so this is where we're going to use our chair. So if you want to go bring yourself near to your couch, or if you have a chair to put nearby, we're going to come down. We're going to get close to whatever the thing is that we're going to put our heels on. We're going to lie down with our heels on the chair. And you're going to end up with your hips kind of under your knees. They could be a little further than under your knees, or they could be right under your knees. You don't want your hips closer to the chair than your knees. So we're lying on our back, we have our arms at our side, we have our heels on the chair, and our feet are hip distance apart. So initially, we're just gonna do it, we're just gonna do a bridge, okay? Pretend like your feet are on the floor. And we're just gonna start to lift the tailbone off the floor. We're gonna lift each lower lumbar vertebra off the floor until you're just gonna do a little bridge till you feel just your low ribs on the floor and just your lumbar spine has come up. And then we're gonna lower that back down. So the lumbar spine tends to have a lot of issues as we get older. So can we just curl up and just try to mobilize up to the point where your lumbar spine is off the floor, your low ribs are on the floor, and then lower that part back down. Just trying to create a little mobility in the low back. So starting the same way, we're gonna curl up and just lift up until the low ribs are on the floor. So now we're gonna hold here for a bit, pressing the heels into the chair to hold the low back off the floor. And this on its own can be quite a bit of work. And this might be as far as you want to go. So we're going to take a breath and then we're going to roll back down. And once you've made your way all the way down, you can take a little break, let your legs relax. We're going to do that again. We're going to roll up into a low bridge. And you kind of have to use the strength of your legs to lift that low back off the floor, right? And then you feel your low ribs on the floor, your low back is off the floor. You could just hold here, or could you press one heel into the floor and bring the other knee up? And then put that heel down, press that heel into the chair and lift the other knee up and put that heel down. Maybe again, lift one foot off, bring the knee up and put that heel back down, lift the other knee up and put that heel back down. And then we'll lower down out of that low bridge. And you can just relax for a minute. Maybe let your shins, the back of your calves rest on the chair so that everything can relax, because we're going to try it one more time. So then again, get your heels so that your knees are more or less over your hips. Your feet are hip distance apart. Start to curl up into a low bridge so that your low back is up, but your low ribs are on the floor. And you could just hold here, or you could lift one knee up, or maybe take a leg all the way up in the air. Maybe you could lift up a little higher, pressing your heel into the chair, and then bring that heel back. And then maybe lift the knee up or lift the leg up, maybe lift into a little higher bridge, and then put that heel back down. Maybe lift up into a higher bridge with both heels on the chair, taking a breath. And then nice, slow, gradual rolling down, releasing slowly, gradually, and incrementally lowering down vertebra by vertebra by vertebra until you're all the way down. And then you can relax your legs and take a breath. Great. All right, let's roll to the side or figure out some way to get back up. We're going to come around to sitting once again. And again, you could do this sitting in a chair. You could do this sitting on the ground. You could elevate yourself a bit by sitting up on a blanket if you like. We're going to go back to cross-legged if that works for you. And again, if cross-legged isn't great for you, you could have your leg, one or both legs straight. All right. So just like when we started, can we root the sitting bones down to sit up nice and tall? Great. And we're going to do some twisting again. So we'll do that twist we started with earlier. Let's all go the same direction. So right hand behind, left arm across, root to rise, breathe in. As we exhale, we're going to twist around to the right. So as we twist around to the right, the ribs, chest, shoulders spiral, the head and neck can spiral. And then that right hip bone, if it's drawn back, can you bring that right hip bone back in line with the navel? So the hips are square to your device and the rest of the body has rotated around. And then deep breath in and out here. And then we'll release and unwind. We'll go to the other side. So the other hand comes behind, right arm goes across, root to rise, big breath in. Exhale and spiral around. So as you twist around to the left, that left hip bone, and you bring it back towards the midline, stabilize your lumbar spine, let your thoracic spine, your cervical spine spiral, twist. And then deep breath in and out. And then release back around. Great, let's straighten the legs out in front. And for me, I usually come off the chair when my legs are straight. I mean, off of the blanket. So now we're going to take the right leg and cross it over. Now you can do this with this foot here, if that's more comfortable, or if this foot can be planted as you cross it over. Take the right arm behind again, root to rise. Now this arm, you could be holding your knee, you could be hugging your knee, you could bring the arm across, whatever works for you. Take a breath in. Exhale and spiral around to the right. Ribs, chest, shoulders, head and neck. So it's hard for the hip to draw back when your leg is crossed over. So you don't really have to give yourself that cue. And just breathe deeply here. Maybe on the exhale, you feel a little deeper ability to twist. So do that one more time. Feel the movement of the breath in. And then with the exhale, can you move a little deeper into this twist? And then release and unwind. You can uncross that leg. We'll do the other side. So the foot could be here, or if you cross it over, it'll keep that hip steady. So take your left hand behind, your right arm can be wherever, root to rise, breathe in, and then spiral. Spiral around, maybe changing your arm position as you go if that would be helpful. And then connect with your breath. Feel the movement of the breath flowing in and down. And allow that breath to empty all the way out. You could or blow. Do that again. Great. And then release back around. All right, straighten the leg out. We're going to make our way down onto our backs. So go ahead and make your way to lying down. Once we're lying down, let's hug the knees into chest. As you hug your knees into chest, you might sway a little bit side to side. As you sway center, start to draw your knees apart, taking a breath. And then bring your heels up toward the ceiling. We're going to do happy baby. Variations are to grab your inner knees and pull them out and down. Take 2 fingers and grab your big toes and pull your heels down over your knees, or you might grab the outer part of your feet. The goal is to just kind of let the weight of the heels drop the knees out wide apart. Yeah. And you could just be here hanging out. You could be swaying a little bit. You could bring one heel in toward the midline and open the other leg out to the side and take a breath. You could bring that heel in toward the midline. Take the other leg out to the side and take a breath. You could just be hanging out again with your heels over your knees, or you might take both heels out to the side, draw them out and down, and take a big breath in and out. And then we can bring both heels in, let go of the feet, drop the feet to the floor. You might separate your feet a little wider than the hips and let the knees drop in toward the midline. And take a breath in and out here. And then let the knees come apart. We're going to move into our final relaxation. So at this point, you might want to put a little something under your head or put something under your knees to support your low back, whatever feels good. Find a way to be comfortable. You could be lying on the floor. You could move to your bed if you're in your bedroom. But just find a way to be comfortable, supported, so that you can allow your body to relax. So perhaps letting your eyes close now. And letting all these muscles that we engaged throughout this practice, just letting them go. We ask them to do many things. We work them, we stretch them. They're primed for relaxation. So all we are asked to do here now is to allow the body to follow its own wisdom and drop into relaxation. Feeling the weight of the legs release into the floor. Feeling the weight of the hips relax into the floor, softening the belly. Feeling the arms heavy on the ground, your shoulders dropping back. The chest softening and opening as the upper back releases into the floor. Feeling the heaviness of the head resting back, allowing all the muscles of the face to soften. Release away from gripping onto the skull, releasing the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, the throat. And letting the mind rest now, letting yourself be just as you are. Awake, yet relaxed. Giving ourselves permission to just be. No need to do anything now. The body can rest, and the mind can rest as well. If we find ourselves thinking, planning ahead, just bring your mind back to resting. This is kindness. This is offering loving kindness to ourselves. Giving ourselves a little time in our day to just be. And drawing your next breath in a little deeper. Slowly, gradually beginning to open your eyes. Maybe bringing your feet to the floor. You can start to transition out of this relaxation. And I'm going to share a reading with you. This reading is from Melody Beattie's Journey to the Heart book and this is called Tap into Life's Energy. She says, life is not something separate or apart from you as you once believed. There is a power, a life force that moves, guides, directs, and inspires you. You are one with life, with life's energy. Do things that energize your soul, that charge your soul. Soak up the sun, soak up color, soak up beautiful sounds. Immerse yourself in nature, in a world that refreshes, restores, and renews. Don't worry about the task or the day that looms ahead, the work and love and play, the problems and choices that are on the way. If you energize yourself, restore yourself, the power to take action will come naturally, like water from a spring. Look around. What do you see that feels right to do? Which direction do you see as the right way to go? Trust the smallest glimmer. Give in to the urge, to the guidance that's there. Do it once, do it again. Soon you will find yourself in harmony. So I thank you for coming this morning. I hope you have a chance to tap into life's energy today. Again, hopefully you felt that way this morning with our practice. So I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.